specifically this piece, this Te Deum, which is this 8th century hymn we sort of applied to St. Ambrose, and it's a hymn of praise, and it is sort of this regimented accounting for how we should thank God for our lives, who should be praising God, from the angels to the apostles to the martyrs to you and me, and it's a really joyful text. But Parrott sets it in this really sort of neo-Gothic, gorgeous, meditative place for all strings and choir, a drone, an electronic drone, and then a prepared piano. And what a prepared piano is, I guess I could tell you, is that he has specified a number of places on the piano where he wants screws inserted in between the strings, so they make this sort of rattling sound, creates an alternative tonality. So when the piano is played, it doesn't just sound like a regular piano, there's this sort of eerie rattling and jangling that happens. And it's very specific about where he wants the screws placed, because he wants them vibrating in a really sort of succinct, specific way within each chord. And then the drone itself, the drone is a recording of a wind harp on the beach in his homeland of Estonia. And the wind harp, if you know, it's this massive structure that is created so that when wind blows through it, it vibrates at a specific pitch. And he recorded it. And so there's this low D and a low A, which the device can create. And that runs throughout. And I find that really interesting. It sort of grounds the piece in this spiritual zone in this place. And on top of all these drones, you have the choir singing these beautiful lines of it sounds like Gregorian chant. It's obviously new music. He's composed it with an ear toward his heritage and the Eastern Orthodox Church, but definitely it feels like you're sitting in the middle of a cathedral listening to Gregorian chant, alternating with different choirs. The piece features 3 different choirs, so we'll have 3 choirs in this beautiful concert hall singing antiphonally together along with the full string section of the symphony. I think he himself connected first with minimalism, and if you look at his early music, a lot of it is not tonal, and it was sort of cell-based and rhythmic-based, and he sort of got himself out of it, but still felt connected to the expression of change in music being the most profound thing that a human encounters. For me, in minimalism, it's all about the surprises, the changes. Sort of be immersed in this repeating structure only to hear something surprise you. And that surprise, that change, is what takes your breath away. And in a way, you can see him working with some of those things in here. I mean, some of the string interludes will just start with the violins playing this little melody, and then he'll kind of add a counter melody, and that melody will just repeat this 2-measure cell while he sort of flushes it out and adds other repeating cells to it. But this piece, I would say, is not particularly minimalistic. It's not repetitive, but it is an expression of patience and meditation and stillness, contemplation. That's what I would say. I mean, would I say that he's the same as Terry Riley or John Adams or Steve Reich? And I think all of those people, Philip Glass, are all different. But they were all inspired by this idea of really highlighting the idea of change in music, this idea of kaleidoscopic metamorphosis, I think. So yeah, sure, he can be minimalistic, but he's his own person. He has his own style. He created his own style, for goodness sake. It's actually one of the most magical things you can experience. And his idea is that, first of all, you have to know that surrounding us everywhere is what we call an overtone series of music. And so you might hear a single pitch sung, but if you listen carefully, you can hear other pitches in the room that the room creates on its own. Very high, some of them very high, some of them very low. We call those overtones. You have to sign up for a physics class at the local community college or university to learn all about overtones. But what I love to do is to get people in a room and to have them just sing a perfect fifth together and tune it perfectly, and then they can hear all of the other tones of the chord spinning around them. And it's magical. And so what he did is he was listening to the ringing of bells in Estonia, church bells, and he noticed that when the bells were basically all in the same key together, they created this whole spinning net of overtones. And he realized that you could actually manipulate how the overtones sounded just by ringing different bells, but within the same tonal set. And he thought, wouldn't it be interesting to do the same thing with traditional choral and instrumental music? And so basically what he does, there are two voices that only sing the notes in like a D minor chord, la da dee dee dee, and they just go back and forth over and over again. And perfectly, if they sing it perfectly in tune, they create these overtones. And to that, he will add these melody voices in the middle that will bend the overtone series around the music. And so what you have is the music that you hear coming from the instruments and the voices, but you also have the music in the room that's surrounding you and creating this extraordinary experience of this net of overtones just wrapping around you. And so when we programmed this piece, I was thinking about this gorgeous hall that we're sitting in right now and how beautifully it is tuned. And wouldn't it be extraordinary to bring that kind of music in here, to get the whole room sort of spinning in these perfectly in tune overtones? And so the choir's been working really hard. I have the whole choir, they're using tuning forks, tuned very specifically to A equals 440 megahertz. And we are not rehearsing the piece with the piano. We're rehearsing with these tuning forks so that we can totally sing in the center of the intonation, of the just intonation, and create overtones. And it's been really extraordinary. I've had singers coming up to me at rehearsals saying, I have never experienced the power that is singing that perfectly in tune. They can hear all of these other notes spinning around them. So our goal and our objective is to give that experience to the audience. So that's Tintinnabuli style. And it's something I think you could talk about all you want, but you'll never understand it until you experience it for yourself in person. And my job, I think, really, in its most essential form, is bringing human beings in tune. The people listening, the people singing, the people playing, and to watch the people with these tuning forks become completely in tune and have all of that spinning and connecting with themselves and with other people. You can see people becoming transformed by the experience. And bringing people in tune has to do with not just music, but goodness and light and generosity and creativity. And so I think this music does that in a way. And it's something totally different for our audience, I think, and for this space. I'm excited for this space to come alive with that sound.